Welcome back to the ACB Wrestling Talk channel, your main source for wrestling news and wrestling discussions. I'm, of course, your host, Alexis Carrillo, and let's get into some wrestling talk. This upcoming weekend, this Sunday night, Impact Wrestling presents its biggest pay-per-view of the year, Bound for Glory, taking place from Chicago, Illinois. And right here, we're going to preview all 8 matches so far announced for the card for this Sunday, as well as one of the things that seems to be bothering me as an Impact fan in regards to this Bound for Glory pay-per-view. So without further ado, let's get into the matches. So, the very first match I want to preview is this big feud, this big rivalry between Ken Shamrock and Moose. Of course, Ken Shamrock made headlines with Impact Wrestling, being the fact that he is their very first Impact World Champion all the way back in 2002. He made his return. And of course, Moose has got this gimmick of, I'm gonna either, get rid of the people I don't like. I'm gonna get rid of the legends, kind of like the way he handled RVD's return to Impact. Now he's targeting Ken Shamrock. So, with that said, I think it's pretty damn fair and it's pretty damn easy to pretty much predict this match. I think Moose goes over Ken Shamrock. Maybe not in a very dominant way, because Moose, even though he has the physical appearance, he has the wrestling skills, he's a very dominant wrestler in that ring, and he's gotten better on the mic. He also has that cowardly heel-like essence that would permit someone like Ken Shamrock, the man who, at least on Impact Wrestling, is still being called the most dangerous man alive, although I don't think that's going to hold up anywhere else. But I think Ken Shamrock can get some kind of offense in their match this Sunday, so for this one, I'm going with Moose. Moving on, we've got the Michael Elgin versus Naomichi Marufuji. Now, we've seen Marufuji wrestle on Impact Wrestling a few times in the past. He's got this big return. He's facing off against Michael Elgin. Both of them have previous history in Japan. So obviously this is going to be a hard-hitting match, a crowd pleaser for all you hardcore wrestling fans. And again, I have to go with a predictable result. I have to give it to Michael Elgin because Michael Elgin is a full-time Impact superstar under contract with Impact Wrestling, and Marufuji is not. So it'd be kind of foolish to put Marufuji over Elgin. And we've got ourselves a 6-man tag team match. The Rascals, Desmond Xavier, Trey Miguel, and Zachary Wentz versus Dr. Wagner, Aerostar, and Taurus. It's basically Impact Wrestling versus Triple H in an interpromotional match. Look, okay? Look. I know that sometimes you bring in stars from other promotions and you put them over because you want your relationship to be good with the other company. You want your relationship with other companies to be on good terms. But to me, putting stars that aren't under contract with your company seems extremely foolish, seems extremely stupid, because number one, the stars that you do have under contract need to look a lot stronger for the next few months, for the next few years that they're going to be with your company, because that's where you're going to get your money from. These other stars, they come in for this special match, and then they leave. And what benefit do you get if they were to win? So again, it might go the other way because you never know, but I'm going with the Rascals getting the win. I think the Rascals should get the win, and I think they will. So moving on to the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. Honestly, I have no idea who could win this match. It's a gauntlet match where the winner can choose any championship match of their choice, of their choosing. So if I had to pick someone, I might have to go with Eddie Edwards. And I think you'll understand why after I give my prediction for the main event of the pay-per-view. But I think Eddie Edwards is going to win this Call Your Shot Gauntlet match and going to go on to challenge for the Impact World Championship later on and rekindle a feud from about almost 2 years ago. So without further ado, let's get into the triple threat tag team match for the Impact World Tag Team Championships, where the extremely talented tag team, both in the ring and on that mic, the North, Ethan Page, and Josh Alexander, face off against the teams of Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Fan favorite, hard-hitting, very entertaining tag team. They got the swagger, they got the charisma, and they also have to face off against the Nostalgia Extreme Team, NET, not a bad name for Rhino and RVD, in this triple threat tag team match. Now, if it were up to me, I'd have the North retaining their tag titles because they have recently beaten and eliminated LAX from Impact Wrestling. I think they got to remain strong. They got to establish themselves as the top tag team in Impact Wrestling, and I'm thinking that that's exactly why RVD and Rhino are there, to take the fall and protect Willie Mack and Rich Swann for future tag team title shots. But if I had to go with someone else other than the North winning this match and gaining the tag team titles, I have to go with Swann and Mack, because again, very entertaining, very hard-hitting, and the feud between these two tag teams, the North and Swann and Mack, is just going to be gold going into the new year for Impact Wrestling. Then we've also got ourselves a singles match for the Impact Knockouts Championship. Taya Valkyrie defends against the extremely overpushed Tenille Dashwood, who just made her debut, won a few matches, and got herself a title shot at Bound for Glory. Now, don't get me wrong, Tenille Dashwood is a very talented performer. She's extremely well-versed in the ring. She's got some mic chops as well. I just kind of get a feeling that Impact fans aren't too excited about her being pushed to the top, and I'm seriously hoping they don't put the title on her at Bound for Glory, although they might. But for record's sake, because they've established that Taya Valkyrie is the longest reigning Knockouts champion in history in one reign, which is completely wrong because her days don't match that of Taryn Terrell, I believe. So for that record's sake, I would have to go with Taya Valkyrie retaining. Let Taya Valkyrie pass Taryn Terrell's record, and then do whatever you want with the Knockouts Championship. Put Tenille Dashwood over. Just give her a few more months, give her a few more matches to get over with the Impact crowd, and then put the title on Tenille Dashwood. But for now, Taya Valkyrie gets the win. And then we got to go into our two main event matches, our more interesting matches of the night. First of all, we've got a intergender, I believe, ladder match for the X Division Championship at Bound for Glory, where Jake Chris defends against Tessa Blanchard, Daga, and Ace Austin, and one wrestler to be determined, I guess. And I'm going to make it simple and sweet. It's going to be a hard-hitting match. It's going to be pretty much the bright spot, what do you call it? The spot match, like Matt Hardy would say when in his deleted days. It would be the spot monkey match of the night. And I'm going to go with Tessa Blanchard winning the X Division Championship, and maybe in the future cashing in option C against, again, the winner of the main event of Bound for Glory. Still yet to come. But they've kind of been pushing Tessa Blanchard to compete against the men. They did it in the main event at Slammiversary against Sami Callihan, and they've been pushing towards that ever since. So now they just got to go all the way. They're going to go all the way at Bound for Glory and have Tessa Blanchard win the X Division Championship. Don't forget that. Tessa Blanchard becomes X Division Champion this Sunday at Bound for Glory. And like Paul Heyman would say, that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. And finally, we get to the main event of this year's Bound for Glory pay-per-view event. A main event which I am extremely excited about because Sami Callihan has been on a roll ever since that infamous incident in 2018 with the baseball bat and Eddie Edwards. He's been putting guys over left and right, guys and girls over left and right. He's been a company guy. He's self-named himself as the Draw, and I believe that he could very well become that. He just has to go through the machine to do it. He has to beat Brian Cage, And we all saw what happened at Impact Wrestling. Sami Callihan went a little bit too far by pile driving Brian Cage's wife, Melissa Santos, after hitting her accidentally with that champagne bottle as well. So it's a pretty personal feud. It's a well-built feud for the Impact World title. But I have to go with Sami Callihan defeating the Machine Brian Cage for the Impact World Championship. Again, in the future, towards the end of the year, we're going to get the rematches between Callihan and Cage for the world title, that kind of stuff. I think Callihan is going to go into the new year as the Impact World Champion. I think that's the right move for Impact to do. It would get some people talking. And then you start the new year with two brand new challengers for Sami Callihan's world title. One being Option C with Tessa Blanchard, and the other being Eddie Edwards with his Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. So again, a pretty bright future for Impact Wrestling. Gotta go with Sami Callihan ending the pay-per-view as Impact World Champion. I think, pretty much every single Impact fan out there wants that to happen. I think they want Sami Callihan to be World Champion and possibly have OVE rule Impact Wrestling finally, as they should, with them being the dominant stable of the company. But we'll just have to wait and see what goes down this Sunday at Bound for Glory in Chicago, Illinois. Getting to the last part of this video, I want to talk about 3 factors leading us to why I'm not feeling as excited about Bound for Glory this year as previous years, and why fans out there and pretty much the wrestling media is not excited about this pay-per-view at all. Number 1, AEW on TNT, NXT on the USA Network, SmackDown on Fox, WWE always has all the attention. Hell, even NWA Power has a little bit more buzz than Impact Wrestling has right now. And I think that's one of the factors as to why fans, other than Impact Wrestling fans, aren't talking about Bound for Glory. 2, if you look at the card, I would have to say it's pretty lackluster. Again, I have no doubt they're going to have great matches, but in order to bring in the hardcore wrestling fan, in order to bring in the mainstream wrestling fan, you need a bit more names. You need a bit more recognizable stars to bring that audience to the pay-per-view. In fact, you got nostalgia all over the place with Ken Shamrock returning. All respect to Ken Shamrock. I don't think he should be wrestling for any company right now. The same with RVD and Rhino. Like I said, I think they're just there to take the pinfall from whoever wins the tag team title match, but I don't want to see any RVD or Rhino match on Impact Wrestling, let alone the biggest pay-per-view of the year. And you got this 6-man tag team match, which again is going to be exciting. It's going to be pretty X Division themed. But you've got 3 guys from AAA that are going to have pretty much no future with Impact Wrestling, no immediate future with Impact Wrestling. The same with Marufuji. Again, I think that's a factor. I'm a fan of Impact Wrestling through and through. I'll definitely watch anything Impact puts out, but, for all you mainstream wrestling fans, most of the hardcore fans, they're just hung up on AEW, NXT, and WWE. And number 3, the fact that Impact Wrestling has pretty much botched their marketing campaign for Bound for Glory. They've, once you look at their social media, you see a lot of images about a Throwback Thursday event that they're going to do, apparently. You see a lot of images about Prelude to Glory. You see a lot of images of All Glory. And don't get me wrong, you do see a lot of images of Bound for Glory and a lot of marketing for that pay-per-view. But it's all mixed in with all these other 3 events coming up. And when you're talking about Bound for Glory, when you're talking about the biggest pay-per-view of the year, at least that's how you market it. That's got to be your main focus. Okay? Again, especially for a company like Impact Wrestling, which has so limited attention, so limited time to promote their pay-per-views, their big events, you've got to focus it all on Bound for Glory. And I think their big events on Twitch, their big events on Impact Plus, their whatever, everything else has just allowed Bound for Glory to take a backseat to all of that, or be overshadowed by all of that. I think that's a wrong move on their part. Hopefully, people are into this pay-per-view. They buy the pay-per-view and watch it, and hopefully Impact Wrestling can gain some buzz once it moves to Access TV the Tuesday following Bound for Glory. But I think that's one of the factors why there's not much excitement for Bound for Glory this year. So with that said, that's the preview. Those are my reasons as to why there's not much excitement for Bound for Glory this year. But again, just like with every pay-per-view Impact Wrestling's produced in 2019, it's gonna be a great night for wrestling. You won't want to miss it. So, with that said, what do you think about my predictions? What do you think about my reasons as to why Bound for Glory might not be in many people's agendas to watch this Sunday night? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comments section below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. That's it for me. Till next time.